Alright, so just to introduce for this week, we're Group 1 and our topic is problem recognition and consumer goals. So this video is just going to outline how we've used this journal article called Escalation, the Role of Problem Recognition and Cognitive Bias, authored by Mark Kale, Gordon DePleasure and Arun Rai. And we're just going to talk how this article enriched our understanding of this week's lecture readings and contents. In this video, we're just gonna first of all briefly outline the main crux of problem recognition and consumer goals, and then we're gonna discuss how the journal article specifically added to our understanding of the lecture readings, and then we're just gonna talk about a couple of real-world applications and the implications on marketers and marketing theory. Alright guys, so this is just a basic overview of problem recognition and consumer goals. So the goal of the consumer is to bridge the gap between these two. So this is the desired state and the actual state. So the goal of the consumer is to make the actual state their desired state. Okay, so to reach the desired state. Okay, so what is problem recognition? So problem is a need state. So it's a need state that requires action to eliminate it. But so obviously, when you have a need state and then when you are aware, that's when you are aware of the problem, and then you find the motivation to act and to kind of solve this problem to get you from this point to this point.
One of the things that I want to talk about that wasn't really covered in the lecture was no consumer action. So after assessing the situation, the customers may decide to take no action because of insufficient discrepancy. What this word means, insufficient discrepancy, is that the customer may admit that there is a difference between this desired state and actual state, but the gap between the desired state and actual state is not large enough to motivate further action. For example, a customer might want to buy a new suit and admit that his present suit is not good, not ideal enough, but he might conclude that he'll use the same suit because it's okay the way it is.
Second, the personal relevancy of a problem may affect the immediacy of resolution. For example, two people may hear the same song on the radio and like it equally. One of the two, who purchases a lot of music, is motivated to rush out and get the record. In contrast, music is not as important to the other person, and there is little purchase motivation, despite the positive attitude towards the song. Sometimes no consumer action is taken on a delineated problem because it is of low importance relative to other issues. For example, a food and clothing desire is much more important than, say, an expensive vacation desire.
How does this theory of no consumer action apply? So let's start with so if no action is taken because the consumer, while personally admitting to the existence of a problem, will not publicly acknowledge or admit that a problem exists. So then, as marketers, efforts need to be taken to overcome such, denial tactics. So, excuses of the consumer could be directly dealt with if the consumer can be persuaded to reveal the real objections.
Some consumers may need help with delineating the exact nature of their problem. Efforts can be made by marketers to encourage self-exploration into exactly what the problem might be.
If no action has been taken because of the discrepancy between the actual and desired states is small, then efforts can be focused on widening the gap. This could be done by promotional efforts to increase perceptions of the desired state, decrease perceptions of the actual state, or both.
So from the lecture readings and the journal article, we've pointed out how sometimes the customer's motivation to act can be a problem for marketers in pushing their products, right? So if there's no motivation to act, then the customer likely won't feel the need to bridge the gap between the actual state and the desired state. So how can we as marketers solve this problem? So what we want to do is widen the gap between the desired state and the actual state. So once this gap is wider, then they will feel great motivation to act, and then they will take action to bridge this gap between the actual state and the desired states. So overall, it's just important for marketers to understand what the consumer wants and what problems exist in order for us to be able to convince our customers that our products are indeed the correct solution for their problem.